I grew up in an area called the Quad Cities. It's a close-knit community along both banks of the Mississippi River in Illinois and Iowa. This being my home provided me with experiences that were extremely specific to its locality. Due to its position, my community holds great political importance and allowed me to learn about politics and policy through experience. Growing up in such a politically coveted community, I was exposed to the process of politics and civic engagement from a young age. In my community, it was expected that you vote, engage with campaigns, and volunteer. Being from the Quad Cities also allowed me to get close and personal with candidates and their campaigns. My civic education came from my community, not from my classroom. While I did receive significant civic education through experience, most children today don't have the same opportunities that I did. Schools across the country have cut back on civic education. Only 23% of 8th graders performed at or above the proficient level in the most recent National Assessment of Educational Progress. This has resulted in students who are unprepared to be active citizens and lack strong civic health. For my Civic Summer, I served as a Program Strategy and Operations Fellow at the Obama Foundation in Washington, D.C. There I worked on the development of civic education programming that would work to address the failure of schools to teach civics to their students. This experience allowed me to see firsthand how our country has disinvested in preparing young people for life as a citizen. Most of my days look like this, sitting on a computer. I extensively researched the academic literature on civic education to fully understand the extent of the problem. I then used that information to develop justifications for need and inform the strategic development of programming. As a result of this work, we fully understood the state of civic education in America and how we could contribute to alleviating the issue. My behind-the-scenes strategic work was used to help develop a civic education awards program for students, educators, and administrators in Chicago public schools. Through research and strategic planning, we believed that recognizing the best civic education would create more awareness for the lack of civic education across the country, incentivize its teachings, and connect teachers to proven practices. The foundation also runs a program called Community Leadership Course that provides education, training, and support for young people so that they can identify and tackle issues facing their communities. This program is only offered in a few cities each year. The foundation lacks the capacity to take it larger, and so I was tasked with taking the teachings of this program and making them more accessible. To accomplish this, I led an effort to convert civic teachings that the Community Leadership Corps already used into a publication that anyone could use. This required research on how organizations have historically published their practices. To learn from our peers, I worked with the Library of Congress to obtain and document historical civic education materials that have been previously published. This process was more exciting than what I had originally thought. I was able to review records from the NAACP, the League of Women Voters, and the National Urban League. I even got to see documents owned and held by Rosa Parks. After obtaining handbooks from multiple organizations, I reviewed and synthesized their structures and teachings so that they could be used to inform our strategy when we made our own handbook. Along the way, I learned a little bit about civic programming myself, especially about community need, community context, strategy, and operational capacity. I took these lessons that benefited myself and our students who could use our materials to formulate a structure and content base for the Foundation's own handbook. Towards the end of my time at the Foundation, I presented my findings and my handbook proposal to members of my program team and executives at the Foundation. Work is continuing on the development of this handbook, but it will eventually be an important resource for young people to use in their own civic and community education. While the work was always the priority at the Obama Foundation, we also had fun. There were many opportunities for office parties, excursions, and team retreats. As a result, I got to take a river cruise on the Potomac with my coworkers, and even got to celebrate developments in the building of the Obama Presidential Center in Chicago. This office environment also allowed me to develop mentorships with Foundation staffers and members of President Obama's personal staff. While in DC, I also was able to grow in my own civic education. I got to attend a meeting with Senator Durbin and Senator Duckworth to learn about the legislative process and how they respond to community needs. I also got to visit the Capitol building and the White House, where I got to meet staffers and learn about their career and civic pathway. But one of the best moments of my summer was when I got to meet President Obama. In July, he came to our office, drew some self-portraits on our projector screens, and met every member of the staff. I spent about 2 minutes with him at my desk talking about my work, the Civic Scholars Program, my own civic pathway, a pretty crazy moment for the 11-year-old kid who watched him become president and decided to become active in politics as a result. But while the summer was life-changing for me, I'm proud that it also advanced the effort to bring civic education to more young people across the country. Every person does not have the opportunities that I did. It's time that changed. These students are the future of our democracy, We cannot fail to prepare them for the duties of citizenship any longer. Thank you.